If you learn to make fear your best friend, if you learn how to use fear to get you the adrenaline to overcome your embarrassment, that will be your best friend for the rest of your life. You'll learn how to do things other people won't do because they're too embarrassed. Fucking up can be really the most useful thing that happened to you. That's why Watford students generally are better, because they've fucked up and they've got 10 months to put it right. This is a lifeline. I don't usually do placements with students, but a couple of years back, maybe more, 5, 6, 7 years back, one of the guys, Nick Ray, got in a couple of students from Bucks. There's only been 2 good advertising teachers for my money in London. One is in the UK, one is Tony, one was Dave Morris at Bucks. Dave Morris was at Bucks then. We got in these 2 students anyway, 2 girls, and they had to sit in the corridor because we didn't have any room. And they sat in the corridor just taking up space. And after 2 weeks I looked at the work they'd done and I thought, well, actually this is not bad. Surprised, it's actually, usually students are just a waste of space, but these are actually not bad. So I said to the girls, do you want another 2 weeks here? And they said, yes, okay. So they had another 2 weeks there, and they actually got some ads out. We started making some of their ads. Okay, no, this is surprising. I said to the girls, do you want another 2 weeks here? 6 weeks, we've never done that. And they said, yes please. I said, oh, these kids are really good. And they got a commercial out. And I said to them, okay, no, this is amazing. I said, do you want another 2 weeks? That'd be like 2 months. And the girls said, no, you obviously haven't got a job for us here, so we're going to go and do placements at other agencies where they have got jobs. Now what's happened is the whole thing has changed now. I'm thinking, how the fuck do I hang on to these girls? They're better than some of the people we've got here. And we haven't got a job for them, and we haven't got space, and we haven't got money. But they're better than some of the people we've got, so I can't let them go. So I had to fire another team and give the girls their job. That's the difference between unemployed art directors and writers as opposed to students. Those girls were writers and art directors, they weren't students. They were going to have a job with me or without me. I was just a stepping stone. Now I'm doing what's in my interest. I'm not hiring those girls as a favour. I'm hiring them because I can't let them go. One of those girls went on to become our creative director. One left to have a baby, one went on to become a creative director. You don't need to sit around and wait for anybody's permission to give you a job, to ask, please sir, can I have a job? Is there a job available? Those girls kicked someone else out of a job. Those girls made a job happen where, and it wasn't cruel because the 2 people that I replaced, I found them jobs at other agencies. Don't worry about cruelty. This is just like the football league. One gets relegated, one gets promoted. That's what you should be aiming for. Not doing it the way everybody else does it. Please sir, can I have a job? But boy, I'm a writer and an art director, and out there's a fucking job for me. All I've got to do is find it. The worst, absolutely worst thing you can do, you are fucked now if you start worrying what they want. Absolutely what I don't want, what nobody in the good wants, is someone who's worried about what I want. The girls didn't worry about what I want. The girls' attitude was, that's your problem, you haven't got a job for us. We're over here. Well, now that's my problem. Hang on, hang on. They're not worried about me, and that's what I want. That's gold dust, people like that. I tell you everything I know about life and advertising. We could spend tonight expanding this, but this is everything I know about life and advertising and everything. What's that? And it's never changed. It's what I learned in New York when I was trained there. It's what Bill Bernbach taught everybody. It's what all the best of everything is. It's how the human mind works. It's called Gestalt. And it won't change. That's how the mind works. So here's the mind. You see 2 things. You see this. And you see this. That's what your mind does, is group things. So if you do that, you've got half of the mind. If you do another one of these, you've got a little tiny sharing mind. So when you're spending your time asking me, what does everybody want? You're asking me, how do you become one of these? Yeah? I'm saying, if you want to be one of those, you're fucked now. You're over here. The power is there. What makes you different? What are you that I haven't got? What makes you different to everyone else at Watford? That's the power. It's everything you're taught not to do. I was really lucky. I was taught in New York. That's how you think in New York. That's not how you think in England. In England, how do I fit in? That's the opposite of everything you've been told today, because actually it's true. It is the opposite. Where you're going is the opposite of everything you've been told. You can learn it now, or you can wake up when you're 35 saying you wish you heard this 10 years ago.
I was just going to say, if you were, as a creative director, has what you're looking for when hiring someone, has that changed?
You don't need to know what I'm looking for. You need to know what you're looking for. You're not after a job in the bank. You're supposedly creative. I'm not looking for an accountant. I'm not looking for a bloke who's asking me what colour tie do I want you to wear. What shirt, what would I like you to come in a suit or shoes? What should your portfolio be like? What size should it be? You're supposedly creative. What there is a fucking huge, massive shortage of is creative people. There is an absolute glut of people bitching about the fact that they can't be creative because their creative director won't let them. So you can be another one of those. I don't think Picasso got up every morning and phoned up his manager and says, what size picture should I paint today? And the manager says pink, and he says, are you sure they're buying pink? And he says, well, pink about 2 foot by 18 inches. And Picasso says, all right, I'll go and get a new canvas, 2 foot by 18 inches. What do they want? Do they want nudes or do they want flowers? See, that's how we behave, and we call ourselves creative. Do you tell me if you think that's creative? You laugh when I talk to you about a creative person behaving like that, and yet that's exactly how we behave. We don't move until there's a brief. And the brief tells us what and how many and where and why. And that's as creative as we get. Picking the YouTube clip that we're going to say we grabbed this technique before anybody else did. So we copy a YouTube technique and we write a poem. And we call ourselves creative. I wanted to be a creative director eventually, so my next step was to be a group head. What you now call a creative director and then an ECD. So, in your language, my next step was to be a creative director, not an ECD. Right? So I had a couple of teams working for me. But BNP, they were never going to do that. And John Webster said, no, we're not going to do that. We don't do that. Our plan is one big raft of copywriters and art directors and one ECD, which is me. So we're not going to have group heads. Okay, there's more group heads, but I want to be a group head. So I need some teams working for me. But he's not going to have that, but that's what I want. So what do? Give up? No, I think, how do we handle this? So what I do, I take on more work than humanly anybody else in that department can take, until John says to me, look Dave, you can't take on this much, but you've got to get a junior team working for you, helping you out. I said, all right, well if you reckon. And then I take on more work, and he says, look Dave, you need another junior team, you can't handle all this work on your own, you're working evenings and weekends, it's not fair. I said, oh, all right John, thanks, it's very nice. I've got 2 teams working for me, they're a group head. I know what John wants is what John wants. That's just there for me to think my way around it. Point is, you want to outthink other people. It's a legal unfair advantage. That's the game. That's why John hired me. That's why he eventually made me creative director. Joined ECD there, because what I provided to the creative department was that edge that nobody else does. I'm not waiting for permission. The fun is in doing what you're not supposed to do. The fun is in going where no one else will go. Fucking hell, Steve Jobs, how creative, man. What great ideas in that. You read Steve Jobs' book. That's a creative brain. right in the middle of, he looks at his iPods are selling amazingly. His iPods have ruled the planet. MP3 players, Sony, Apple owned MP3 players, the iPods. And what Steve Jobs does is he sits and looks at it one night and he thinks, we're fucked. These phone people, he said, I've just seen Nokia, you can take 6 records on your phone. When they learn how to put 500 records on your phone, we're fucked. Right, he calls everybody in, he says, we're getting in the phone business. Where the fuck did that come from? He didn't get it. No one sent him a brief. Yeah? You turn it all over and you reinvent the fucking wheel. And you don't, nobody asks you to do it, nobody gives you permission to do it. Everybody tells Steve Jobs, you're mad, we can't do it. He gets fired from his own company. This isn't going to be comfortable. This is going to be a very bumpy ride. You will get fired for this. But here's another quote I read that's absolutely been proved to be true, which is what gets you fired when you're young is what gets you in the Hall of Fame when you're old. I promise you that. I talked to Paul Arden about that. That's his experience, that's my experience, that's John Webster's experience. If you don't do it now, you certainly ain't going to do it when you're 50. Now is the most rebellious and outrageous you will ever be. If you make yourself happy and contented where you're at, is there any growth in that? Growth has to come from discontentment. Growth has to come from believing there's something better and you could be better. Now later on, when it's time to retire, you don't have to do that anymore. Now you can look back and say, yeah, I fucking did it. But you can't do that when you're 20, because you can never do it. If you can't do that on a football team, look at what happened. Look at Arsenal against Monaco. Arsenal didn't really have to play very hard because Monaco were the underdogs. Arsenal lost 3-1. Look at West Ham against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are way down the bottom, worried about relegation. West Ham are in the top half of the table. West Ham lost 3-1. If you get complacent, you're asking, I think, to get fucked. And I read that in, what do you call it? Darwin. What's it? Evolutionary terms. Paranoia is much more useful than complacency. If you can't tell the difference between a bear and a rock, knowing that, yeah, probably ain't a bear, it's probably a rock. That's fine, and that'll give you a very happy life, up until the time it's a bear. If you always believe that could be a fucking bear, most of the time it won't be, it'll be a rock, and you'll be wrong. But you will never get eaten by a bear. So paranoia is making yourself uncomfortable is quite useful. Now, at the same time, you have to be able to hold 2 thoughts in your head. You have to know you're doing that for yourself. That's why I say, if you learn how to make fear your best friend, if you learn how to scare yourself, if you learn how to make yourself discontent, but at the same time know you're doing it for yourself. If you don't know how to do it, then fear will just make you paralysed. But if you know how to make yourself scared, scared of failure, scared of complacency, scared of not fulfilling your potential. If you know how to do that, you can drive yourself over your embarrassment and over your laziness. The thing is, I think it might be Whitehead who said it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to hold 2 thoughts in your mind at the same time. So you can know you know it and know that you're doing it. How to make fear your friend. If I've got to worry about paying school fees, while I'm single, while I'm young, while I can take a chance, do I want to roll the dice? I won't always be able to do this. Do I want to be dangerous while I'm young? You may want to have that discussion with yourself. You can't do that until you know that you are not your mind. It takes you a while to get this, obviously, in Eastern philosophy, it takes you a while to get this. Every time you realise you are not your mind, you are immediately back in control. Your mind is telling you. We used to do an exercise to help you get this, for a week, we would stop using the word but and always use the word and. We find the word but stops you thinking and makes you give control away to your mind. So you would say, at lunchtime, you'd say, I want a sandwich, but it's raining. As soon as you say, but it's raining, you've given control away. I can't go out because it's raining. If you say, I want a sandwich and it's raining, now you have to decide, do I go and get a sandwich anyway, take an umbrella, or do I stay inside and stay dry? Just changing from but to and forces you to be responsible. That's existentialism. There is no right and wrong, there's only cause and effect. You can get wet and get a sandwich if you want, or you can stay in and stay dry and don't have a sandwich. It's your choice, as long as you don't blame someone else. When you say, I want a sandwich but it's raining, you're blaming the rain for what happened, for you being hungry. And that's how most people live their lives. And that's why people in advertising are over the pub drunk when they're 50, grumbling about the fact that they could have been great if only the creative director hadn't worked. They've got to blame someone else. I could have been really good, but the creative director was come. Or I could have been good and the creative director was come. One said, well, why didn't you leave? Is the and. The but is, well, it wasn't my fault, it was the creative director. I'm not going to make you understand this in just a couple of minutes. If you're interested in this, you have to study it. But your worst enemy isn't outside your head, your worst enemy is inside your head, and it's your own mind, which will stop you doing amazing things, because amazing things are risky. But you have to think yourself, and it's only my opinion. My opinion is subjective, it's not the law, it's not a rule. All of this is what works for me. But I don't embody conventional thinking. Most people in advertising don't think like I think. Yeah. Most people in advertising don't think like me, but so all we do is listen to me, keep the bits that work, leave the bits that don't.